Right, hi guys. I'm in my car. So my 3 hour journey this morning has taken 5.5 hours and I'm still not home. So so I'm sorry that I'm in the car. I've just sent my kids off. I've just pulled into a shopping centre and sent my kids off shopping with my credit card. So it could be a disaster. They've got a £45 limit. They don't know what the PIN number is. Right, so and JJ, bless him, literally has just set everything up for me whilst we've been driving. So I am all sorted with my slides and I'm ready to go. So let me share my screen. All right. It's lovely to see you all, by the way. So I had this like a couple of hours ago. I realized there was no way I was going to get back in time because the A1 has been closed in 3 different places because it's been like torrential rain. People have just been aquaplaning. So I did think, shall I postpone it? And then I thought, no, this is like that. Actually, this is too important for you guys to miss. So I really want to share all this stuff with you. Yeah, Kanika, that's it. The beauty of technology. We can do this from anywhere, right? I would rather be on a beach somewhere delivering this to you, but I'm in a car park in a retail centre somewhere just off the A14. I don't even know where I am. Oops, hang on. Google My Business. I would love a quick show of hands in the chat. Who is using Google My Business? If you don't know what it is yet, that's absolutely fine. But I would love to know if anyone is actually using it yet. And I'll tell you in a minute what it is. Okay, Kate, yes, you're using it. Angela, yes. Margaret, okay. Oh, great. Lovely to see that you're actually all here and listening. Okay, fabulous. Gail, using it, we could do better. All right. Fabulous. Have a profile, gets hits. Honestly, have little idea of how to use it properly. Deirdre, yes, you've just started. Margaret, know of it, but not sure how to set it up. Okay, awesome. Nicola, you're using it for your new job. Brilliant. Okay. Michaela, you are sort of. All right. So, Angela, yes, I use it and I think it's great. Brilliant. Okay, let's dive in. So, if any of you are here and you have no idea what it is, we're going to clear that up for you right now. So, we're going to have a look today at what it is, what you can do with it, and if you're not using it yet, how you can claim and verify your Google My Business. We're going to have a look at what kind of information people can request on it. We're going to look at Google Posts. We're going to have a look at questions and answers because these might be features that you're not using yet. And we're also going to have a dig into Google My Business Insights. So let me just be really clear. Google My Business is probably your biggest opportunity for getting traffic to your website for free because people are searching on Google for your kind of services. And if you can optimize your Google My Business posts or your Google My Business listing, then you're going to get a whole load of free traffic to your website. That's without you doing social media and everything else that goes with it. I'm not saying stop doing your social media, but this is a channel that you should absolutely be optimizing because it could be driving more traffic than any of your other channels that you're using right now. So the ultimate goal is to turn people who actually find you on Google search and Google Maps into new customers with a free business profile. And that could be for your storefront or your service offerings. So most of us here are service-based entrepreneurs. Margaret, obviously you will be driving people to a storefront. If you're a local business, so Margaret, I'm not sure if you have a kind of workshop that you invite people into, but let's just say you are a gallery or a plumber or an accountant, and so you're looking for a really local business, Google My Business is an absolute must-have. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But for most of us, we are operating on a more national or global basis. It's still really, really valuable. So what is it? Basically, it's an opportunity for you to actually have a free listing on Google. It's been called all sorts of things over the years. It was, for a while, it was Google My Places. Then it was Google Places, I think. Then it was Google My Places. Then I can't remember. It's gone through so many different iterations, but now it's called Google My Business. And the first thing I want you to do when you come off this workshop is just Google My Business. and go to it, and you're going to set yourself up a profile if you haven't got one. If you've already got one that isn't optimized, you're going to sign in and you're going to start implementing some of the stuff that we're talking about today. So let's have a look at what you can actually do with it. So a verified account, and I'll talk about verification more in a moment, it enables you to actually manage how your business is showing up on Google search. So it enables you to add your business name, your location, your hours of operation. It allows you to reply to customer reviews. It enables you to add photographs. You can actually see through the insights how many people are searching for your company, and so much more. So what you can actually do with it is you can create almost like a homepage within Google. It's what your potential customers are actually going to see first when they search for something along the lines of what you're offering. So it gives them a really good first impression, and it's also, it can give them what we call a zero-click search. So they don't actually have to click on a link to go anywhere to find out more about you. So if, for example, you're a bricks and mortar business, and let's say you're a gallery, you have opening hours, people can actually find out all of this stuff about you in your listing without actually having to go through to your website and search for your contact details or anything else. So my listing, by the way, is not optimized yet, and actually doing all of the work for this presentation today made me realize I've got a lot more work to do on my profile as well, and I'll talk you through some of the things that I'm going to be doing and that I had hoped I would have a chance to do before this workshop, so that I could show you the exact steps that I went through, but I'm going to talk you through them anyway. But as you can see on the right hand side is my listing, and the really great thing about Google My Business is it's an opportunity for you to optimize something that a lot of your competitors won't be. So it gives you a chance to stand out and shine. But one of the most important parts, and we're going to talk about it more, is the review area. Now you can see at the time where I actually pulled these screenshots off, which was a couple of weeks ago when I was doing the preparation for this workshop, I had 61 Google reviews, and that's not shoddy, but it's not great. I still want to focus on getting more Google reviews in for my business, because I figure for the amount of time I've been running the Website Mentor, which is about 5 years now, I know that I have a lot more than like 12 reviews a year or 12 testimonials a year. So I want to be driving people to that review area. And as you can see, this does give information about my address. It also gives my phone number. There might be information that you actually don't want to have on Google My Business, and there's ways around that. So we'll talk about that as we start going through stuff. But I also want to draw attention to the fact that further down, right at the bottom on the right hand side of this slide, you can see where it says reviews from the web. Google My Business pulls in reviews from all over the place. So if you have reviews on Trustpilot or Checkatrade, which I don't think anyone in here is likely to be on Checkatrade, but Facebook. So these have been pulled in from my Facebook page. You can see it's pulled in 78 reviews from my Facebook page. So instantly, if someone's looking for the kind of services that I offer, if I'm sitting alongside, let's say, 2 other people who offer really similar services, and they've got, let's say, 5 reviews on Google, and you can see that they've maybe got 10 reviews on Facebook, and they can see that I've got 61 reviews on Google and 78 reviews on Facebook, they're probably more likely to click on my profile, not because it looks more amazing, but just simply because that social proof is so compelling. In our subconscious mind, we are constantly looking for validation from complete strangers, people that we don't even know. And the review process that we're able to go through online, whether it's on Facebook or Google My Business or TripAdvisor or anywhere else, is so powerful. We mustn't underestimate it. So the first thing that you can do before you're starting to optimize Google My Business is you need to claim and verify your Google My Business listing. So the first thing that you do is you need to actually go in and make sure that your listing doesn't already exist, because if it does and you start setting up another one, you're going to end up with duplicate accounts, and it's going to send everything a bit haywire, and you're going to end up going bonkers trying to figure out which one you want to keep. So make sure that your listing doesn't exist already. And then if it doesn't, then go ahead and create a listing, and then you submit it for verification. It's super simple to get started. It's just a wizard. So I'm not even going to go through that because I know you're already capable of doing that. If you get stuck with it, then shout out in the group and I'll hop in and help you with it. But once you've actually claimed your listing, you're then going to need to verify it. And the way that you do that is they will usually send you a postcard in the post, and then it's got like a little code on it, and you go ahead and you then submit it. And then that's your verified listing, and it's really important to get verified. So once you've claimed your listing, it means that you can go ahead and start publishing your business information. So this is things like your address, your opening hours, your phone number. So these are the kind of things that are really, really important for you to get right. And if ever they change, you need to make sure that you're coming in here and changing them so they're not out of date. It enables you to respond to reviews from anyone that's left a review on Google My Business. You can add images to your listing, which are really powerful. We're going to talk about those in a minute. Really, really amazing insights you get into how people are finding your business and how many people are calling you using a listed number, how many people are searching for your business. So it gives you incredible data. And also there's a statistic that businesses that actually verify their listings are twice as likely to be considered as reputable. So you do need to make sure that you're verifying your listings by requesting that little postcard and then submitting the code onto it. So once you have actually gone through that verification process, you are then able to start editing your business information. And until you've actually gone through that process, you're not able to edit the information that's appearing on your listings. The reason why it's so important is because it means that no one else can actually pretend that they're you and can't go in and change some of that really valuable information. So what it's doing is it's basically verifying the accuracy of everything that's on there. So I thought I had a postcard, like a picture of the postcard, but I don't. But it is just a postcard that you receive through the post. Okay, so once your listing is claimed and once your listing is verified, most people will just tinker with it and then they'll move on. And they'll think, okay, that's it, I'm done. But there's so much more that you can do. And so that's what I just wanted to scoot through that so we can really, really focus on how you can be optimizing it. So the first thing is make sure that you complete all of the information that Google is requesting, because the more information you give it, the more it's going to love you and the more it's going to bump up your listing. So things like your name, address and phone number, which is NAP for short, make sure that they're all up to date and make sure that they are consistent across all of your platforms. And that's actually really, really important. So if your address, let's say you are at 32 Main Street, make sure that if your address on your Google My Business is 32 Main Street, that on your website you don't have it as 32 Main ST. Okay, so you want consistency across all that because Google will pick up on it and it will question you if there's any inconsistencies on any of your listings. Okay, so then you want to optimize your description. So you want to use keywords that you think people are going to be searching for your business. So make sure that when you're using your description, you're not like stuffing it with keywords. So for me, I might be talking about website creation or DIY websites, but I don't want to absolutely cram my description with stuff about websites because I want to make sure that it's conversational because we ultimately want people to click on it. So remember that we're writing this for Google so that it's able to find the listing, but we're actually writing it for people. So once the listing is presented to people, they're compelled enough to click. And add information which is going to set you apart from your competition. So things like awards that you have won or places that you've been featured or clients that you've worked with. If you've worked with, some household name clients like Nike or John Lewis or people like that. So you can start talking about things that are really going to give you a little bit of a bump in credibility. And obviously you're going to talk about the products or services that you offer. Now, where you come to the point where you can add categories, make sure that you choose the primary spot. So you'll get a drop down option of categories, and it might be really useful for you to go and have a look at some of your main competitors or other people in your industry to see what category they're using, because the categories aren't always self-explanatory. And for some of you who maybe you're in the spiritual space or the wellness space and you feel like you don't necessarily just tick all the boxes of that particular category, it may be useful for you to go and have a look at someone else's. So some of you know Tiffany Cressara. She's a fabulous lady, and she teaches people about tarot, and she's always really frustrated about the fact that she can never fit into any of the categories really comfortably. And so you might feel the same. It doesn't mean that you can't be listed on Google My Business. So just have a look at what other people are doing and then just fall into rank and follow suit to get some inspiration and model what they're doing if they're in the same industry. So ultimately, what your aim is to do is to add as much information as media onto your profile as you can. Now, I don't mean that you go absolutely crazy with this, but there's so many opportunities here that so many people are missing, and which I'm also missing as well. So I've still got work to do. But I reckon if you put 90 minutes aside over the next week or so, you could absolutely smash through all of these things, because none of it is difficult. It's just a question of pulling out images, pulling out information for your description that you can literally, you could add, and you could do it late one evening. It doesn't require a huge amount of brain power. So the things that you're going to add, you are going to add a profile image. And I don't know that I've actually, what I should have done was add some photographs of how that's going to look, but it's going to walk you through it on the wizard as you're going through it. So add your profile image, which is the one that you want people to actually go ahead and see first. It's going to be prominent on your listing, and you're also going to add a cover photo. So the reason why I just flicked to the next slide was because I wanted to see if I had added my my listing on here again. So let me go back to my listing and show you. So where you see this here, and it says see photos. So this is my profile image here. And what I try to do with a profile image, and I would encourage all of you to do the same, is across all your profiles, have the same profile image. Now, for most of us, that's going to be a headshot. But for some of you, if you don't feel like you're the face of your business, then maybe use a logo. But I think for the majority of us who are watching this now and who are watching the replay, it's going to be a headshot. So make sure it's a good one, but I would be using the same headshot on your Facebook page, on your Twitter profile, on your Clubhouse profile. And the reason why I say that is because often when we're using our headshots, or we're telling people to search for us on Facebook, for example, the headshots that they're presented with when they see a whole load of options of, let's say, Vicky Etherington's on Facebook, are tiny. And so you want something that where they look, oh yes, I noticed her on Clubhouse. And if they can notice that it's the same headshot, it gives you instant recognition. So that's what I would recommend. Hang on, I can see a whole load of chats coming through. Let me just check that that's not people saying we can't hear you. Hang on. Let's see. Okay. All right, great. I'm going to come back to some of those questions in a minute. So let me just come back. So that's your profile picture. And then your cover image is going to be something like this one that you're seeing here. Now, when I look at this cover image, I uploaded this a couple of years ago. So I definitely need to revisit my cover image. And so you want it to be something that's compelling for people to look at, or indicative of the services that you offer. So for example, for Margaret, you might want to have something with a whole, maybe like a really nice presentation of some of the pieces that you've created. For a lot of you, you're going to struggle with it because you might think, well, if I was a hair salon, it would be an image of the front of the salon. But it can be anything that you want it to be. So it could be like a product shot of your course. So when I'm talking about a product shot, what I'm meaning is you've seen them. I know you've seen them, and I can show you one after this if you want to see what I mean. I'm meaning like those mock-ups that you see on a screen with a mobile and a tablet, and it's got like screenshots of maybe worksheets from your course or that kind of thing. So product shop can be really great. So just because you're a service-based industry doesn't mean that you can't have a really, really compelling profile image on here. Right, okay, so let me go back to where we were on here. Sorry, I just wanted to go back and show you that so that we could see what I was meaning by a profile image. So talk about the areas that you serve. So this is mainly if you are, let's just say you're a plumber, and let's just say you cover the Cambridge area, you would talk about Cambridge and Peterborough and Huntingdon and those kind of areas. So it's not as relevant to us. Because what Google My Business can do for you is, if you're not wanting to specify a particular place of business, it can give you an area that you cover. So instead of giving you like a pin on the map, it can give you like a red line around the areas that you're covering. You can add hours of operation if you like. Now, I pretty much work 24/7. I mean, I don't, but if I wake up at 4 a.m, I'm probably going to reply to an email. But on my Google My Business, I have 9 till 5 because I don't want to be taking client calls outside of those hours. So even though I might choose to be working on my email sequence or whatever at 5 a.m, I definitely choose not to be taking calls at that time. So that's why I include hours of operation, even though it's not like the doors are closed at 5 p.m. You can also add when your company was founded, which if you've been up and running for a while, that gives you some credibility. You can add your phone number, you can add videos, which is really cool. And also you can add your URL, which obviously is really valuable. So your profile picture is really, really important. So make sure that you're choosing that well. And like I say, if you can have it consistent with your other platforms, it's probably just going to give you a little bit of bump in recognition. And of course, you want to be making sure that your photos are professional, if you possibly can. And Google are saying that listings with photographs are getting twice as many clicks, are twice as likely to be considered reputable and get 35% more clicks. That's a third more clicks than any of the other ones. So do make sure that you include photos, even if you're racking your brains thinking, I'm an accountant, what can I actually put up there as a photograph? You want to think outside the box and also model what other people in your industry are doing if you're struggling to think about it. Let me just turn my brightness down on my screen so that I save a little bit of battery power, because if I die, if I just suddenly disappear, it's because my battery on my laptop has died, but I'm hoping it's going to see me through. So this is really, really important for you to just take note of, that people can suggest edits to your listing. And that's why it's really important that you're getting the information right when you put it on there, because you don't actually want random people to be suggesting edits to your listing. It's never happened to me yet. And I think I've had my Google My Business up there, well, definitely for 3-4 years, maybe longer. And I don't think I've ever had anybody suggest a change. But you do need to make sure that you periodically pop into your Google My Business dashboard and just make sure that everything is up to date. So I would recommend that you schedule at least a monthly check-in, because, and I'll talk more about why in a minute. So the services. So I've already mentioned about this, that if you are a local or a bricks and mortar business, then you're probably operating from that, and that will be the address that you have on there. Some people are, and most of us actually are, operating from a home address, or others just don't have any kind of address at all, no fixed address, no bricks and mortar. So you can list your listing as a service area business on Google. So when you're putting down your service areas, you want to make sure that you're putting down your primary service location, and choose it wisely, because you get 20 slots to fill, but you have one of them that's primary. So like I say, when you are going through it, it talks you through it as you go through the wizard. When you log into Google My Business as the business owner, you are going to see this kind of listing here. So you can click on the see your profile to actually click on it. You can see that it's verified. or you can click on this little icon here to go ahead and edit your listings. So at any point, you literally just log in and click on this little edit icon. And then once you've made any of those changes, you go ahead and you click on apply, and they usually are applied quite quickly, but you can't control how long those changes are likely to take. And sometimes they'll verify, or it'll go through a 48 to 72 hour kind of verification process. If you are using a map, so if you're wanting to have that pin in the map that you see on lots of the listings, you might find that the pin is in the wrong place, and you can actually you can adjust that pin. So you can literally drag it and drop it somewhere else. There are times where you won't be able to have that pin. I think I've made a list of them here. So one of the reasons why you might not show up on Google Maps is if your business isn't verified, then you won't show up. If your Google My Business account has been suspended, which hopefully it won't ever be, if you stick within their guidelines, then you won't show up on their map. But if you're using office space, or if you're located a long way away from the center of a city, then you probably won't get that little pin or show up on Google Maps. I'm not sure about the actual with number 4, when I was doing the research for this, I was thinking, I'm not sure that's true, because I show up with a pin and a map, and I live in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally, live in the middle of a field, and it does show up for me. So I'm not sure how true that last one is. So make sure that you're keeping things like your business hours, that it's a true reflection of the actual hours that you're working, because things like, I turned up the other day to Curry's because it said that they closed at 8 o'clock, and it was 6:30 in the evening and they were closed. Now that's just really, really frustrating, because especially if someone's gone out of their way. Now I know it's not as valid for you guys if you're not running a bricks and mortar, but it's still worth making sure that it's a true reflection of the times that you're prepared to take phone calls. Okay, so let's go back to what I was saying about reviews, because they can honestly have a massive, massive influence on the visibility and credibility, not only of your local business, I've put local business in here, but of any business. So even if you're an online business like most of us are. So when people are mentioning the products or services that you are offering within their reviews, then it can lead to optimization of your actual course name, for example. So I don't think Liz is here, but for the likes of Liz, if she's talking about the Peggy program, then or the likes of Michaela with know your numbers, even if you change it, Michaela, when people are actually mentioning it, so for the likes of me, for Rock That Website, if they are mentioned within reviews, it's going to give you a bump of that on your actual rankings. So it's a good thing to actually make sure that you're asking your clients to leave reviews specifically about your program if it was something that they participated in and enjoyed. So because I think this is such an important part of Google My Business, let me just talk about how you can think about growing your reviews. So the first thing obviously is to ask for them. So often, I don't know why, but often we feel really, really uncomfortable about reaching out to clients and asking for reviews. But most people are really happy to leave them for us. Now, you can, in some ways, think about if it's really, really important to you and you feel like people aren't going to leave reviews off your own back, think about ways that you could incentivize them. So you could, it's literally like a bribe. So you could say something along the lines of, I'd be really grateful for a Google review. I'm trying to optimize my Google My Business listing, and a review over there would be hugely appreciated. And if you manage to leave a review within the next fortnight, I will send you my checklist or cheat sheet or whatever it is, which I have created especially for people who are leaving reviews. So you could put something together specifically for people who are leaving reviews. Is one way you could do it, but just generally just asking is going to pay dividends, and then you need to show them how, because leaving a Google review isn't, if people aren't familiar with online platforms, it's not always that intuitive. So if you can show them or tell them how to leave a review so that it doesn't just become one of those things that they give up on, then you're going to get a far more success in the people leaving them. So I think what I might actually start doing is I might put together a little video that's going to show people how they can actually go ahead and leave a review. And then also have a system in place. So remember the people that you've asked for the review, make a note of what their response was, because some people might say, no, I'm not comfortable doing that. I've never had a response like that, but you might. And then make a note of whether they have or not and do a follow-up. So maybe a week later, you can just drop them a line and say, I know life gets busy and I was really grateful that you said you'd leave me a review, but I did notice that there hasn't been one left yet. So just keep on top of things like that. And if you've got a system in place, it's going to mean that you just have a much better success rate in your reviews. And make sure that you are responding to reviews. And yes, that also means the negative ones. So those of you, I need to come over and have a look at the participants and see who's here. But some of you might have noticed, and there's lots of you here actually who was so kind on Monday this week when I had that negative review on my, well, actually it wasn't even a negative review. It was a troll comment, right, on one of my Facebook ads, and loads of people jumped over there with support, which was just incredible. But what that really showed to me is that even though that wasn't a review, there's an opportunity when we have negativity left for us online. And that doesn't always involve asking your community to go over there and respond, but it gives you an opportunity to actually turn things around and flip them a little bit. So if you, if someone leaves a negative review about, let's say a program, and they say, I was really disappointed because I thought it was going to deliver X, Y, and Z, and actually it turned out to be RST. So you can go in there and you can actually actively address that. And if you're able to do that in a really measured and professional way without becoming defensive and taking it too personally, you can turn that around. And I've had people say that they have looked at reviews on people's reviews before, and they've seen how they've handled negativity, and it's solidified a decision to actually go with that person in their mind, because they know that they are prepared to take responsibility for shortcomings in their service offering or their product or whatever it might be. So definitely make sure that you're not just dismissing the negative ones. And it's really hard not to take it personally, but you need to try and leave the emotion to one side when you are responding to anything that you might consider to be a personal attack on yourself. So just try to do it in a very measured way. So when people are leaving reviews for you on Google, they need to be logged into their Google account. And most people have a Google account because if they've got Gmail, they've got a Google account, but they do need to be logged in order to leave a review. So sometimes people might say, well, I tried to leave a review for you, but it was just asking me to log in and I don't have a login details and all this kind of stuff. And so it's important for you to recognize that you can just direct them and say, look, if you log into Gmail, into your Gmail account, and then you click on that link that I've given you, you will automatically be able to leave a review. So when you're asking people to leave reviews, these are the steps you're going to ask them to do. So you're going to ask them to sign into Google or their Gmail account. Then they can search for your business name, and then they literally just click on the link that says leave a review, and then select a star rating, write the review, and hit submit. And it's that straightforward. But you can give them a direct link to the review as well. And this is just a statistic that 44, so nearly half of people said that they would be more likely to visit a business if the owner responded to negative reviews. So that just goes back to what we were talking about. Okay, images. So we've already seen that businesses with photos see a 35% more clicks through to their website. The Google Maps isn't as relevant to most of us, but they will see a 42% higher request for driving directions in Google Maps. I think it's extraordinary, really, when you look at some of these stats and what something like an image can drive more people to request for driving directions. I think that's bonkers. The correlation between those two, it sometimes just doesn't make sense. But we have to follow the data. So we have to, and this is why insights is really important to us. So we have to have a look at what's happening and inform ourselves from it. So types of images. We've already had a look at some of these. So the types of images that you can add a profile photo, a cover photo. You can also add additional photos. So they should be at least 200 by 200, 720 by 720 pixels. And they need to be either a JPEG or a PNG. Your images might become cropped on different devices. So if your image is too big, Google is going to just crop it wherever that cropping happens. So you need to make sure that you are becoming mindful of how that cropping might happen. So, and you need to check your listing in different devices to see how it's showing up. But let's say you're a restaurant and you've got a bowl of soup. You probably want the bowl of soup to be in the center of the image so that if it's cropped down the edges, it's still going to show that bowl of soup. So in terms of what pictures you should use, exterior shots, that's what I was talking about with like hair salon. So Angie's not here at the moment, but Angie runs a hair salon. So Google recommends about 3 exterior exterior shots of your shop, your salon, or whatever it is that you're running. And then also interior shots. Of your products or services, then Google recommends 1 photo per product or service. So for example, if you run retreats, one-to-one coaching, and a group coaching program, then you would have 3 images. So you would have one of your retreats, you would have one of like a product shot of your course, like we were saying before, and then you might have something to depict that one-to-one interaction as well. It's also a good idea if you've got a team, you could have team photos. If you've got an office, then have photos of the interior of your office. And if you're running events, definitely have event photos. So some of those don't apply to all of us, but you could have photos of lots and lots of different things. So you could have photos of testimonials. You could have photos of an exhibition that you have put together for, let's say you're going to a trade show. So like Anna Louise, I'm not sure if she's here, I know put together a really great like little booth at an event. So even if it's a local event, make sure you're taking photos of it and pop them up there. So for entrepreneurs, so for that's most of us, think about branding photos from some kind of photo shoot or product mock-ups like I've already talked about. And also be aware of the fact that Google doesn't tend to like stock imagery. So a lot of us are going to be tempted to just pull stock images of, let's say, like that one-to-one where I'm saying, have something that depicts one-to-one interaction. Try not to choose a stock image for something like that. So, and also, I'm really of the mind now that prospective clients see through a lot of this stock imagery. So if you're taking things from Pixabay or something like that, they might have seen it on other websites. And so I do think it has a little bit of a negative impact on the likes of something as personal as a Google My Business listing. So just be mindful of that. If you can use your own imagery, definitely do. Videos. So I haven't tried uploading videos, but I'm going to. So you can add videos. Now, I think that they need to be, there is a limit on the amount of length that they can be. So 30 seconds or shorter, or in terms of file size, they need to be 100 megabytes or smaller. And they need to be 720 resolution or higher. So that might not mean much to most of you, but if you are filming on a digital camera, I'm actually just trying to think what your iPhone would do. I mean, you could try it, and if it rejects it because you've got the frame size wrong or the resolution wrong, then you'll just have to try and save it differently. But give it a go. I think that if you were doing it directly from your iPhone, you're going to be absolutely fine. 30 seconds or less. There's also a booking button feature. So if you are asking people to make appointments, or you're using something like Acuity or Calendly, people can book appointments directly from your Google My Business listing, and that's a big deal. Google Posts. Okay, really want to talk about this. I recognize that we're running short on time, and I want to shoot through this. So, posts are a way that you can be posting stuff. So if you've written a blog post, or sorry, that's my kids just back from shopping. They bought pumpkins. Posts are something that you can be adding to your listing, and they get deleted after 7 days. And you can have up to 10 posts at any one time. And you can encourage them to take action by book or order online or buy or learn more, sign up, get an offer. This is a big deal because you could be posting things about an event coming up, or your lead magnet, for example. So for me, I am just about to post onto mine about my Confident Website Creation Challenge, which is starting on the 8th of November. It will run for 7 days, and then it just disappears. But I can take them directly to the sign up page from Google My Business. I mean, it's crazy if we're not using this stuff. It's such an amazing opportunity. So, things to keep in mind. So when I'm talking about image ratios, a lot of you are going to roll your eyes and go, what are you meaning? Image ratios are, let's just say you have got an image which has to be 4:3 ratio, which is what this is. That, in the most simplistic terms, means that it needs to be 400 pixels wide by 300 pixels deep, and then any denomination of that kind of dimensions. So that will ensure that your image looks correct. And so you might need to try out several, and of course check them in different devices as well once you've uploaded them. So your first 100 characters of the panel of the post is going to show up in the panel. So you want to make sure that those 100 characters are meaningful ones. I've already mentioned you can have up to 10 posts at any one time. The 2 most recent ones will be shown. So it's a little bit like your blog posts. When you post something onto your blog, it comes in chronological order. So the 2 most recent ones are going to show up, and then the other ones are available in that carousel format. So people will need to click through onto the carousel to see your other 8 if you've got 10. And the posts last for 7 days, and then they disappear. And so that, when I'm going back to what I was saying about, it's important to be logging into Google My Business periodically so that you can check that your information is correct and all the rest of it. It's a good idea to be doing this every 7 days anyway, so that you can be adding new posts. And in fact, I think I'm going to start scheduling it so that I'm checking in every day. I think if I could add a new post every day, it might really, really bump up my visibility. What I haven't touched on today, but I would really encourage you, if you already have a listing, is to check in on your insights. And also, the other thing that I want to show you, I am going to come to the chat, but I do want to show you what happens to Google search when you have got a listing. So let me just come in here and change my screen share. So let me stop this screen share for a second and share something else, because I want to show you something that I think is important. So let's just say I go to Google. Can someone type into the chat if you don't have a Google My Business listing yet? Just let me know, just type in your business name if you don't have a listing yet. Because what I want to show you is what happens when you do have a listing is, if I type in the website mentor, it's going to bring up, you can see it gives me my cover photo, and it automatically lists this out from Google My Business. So let me just check in the chat and see if anyone hasn't got one yet. So okay, no one's answered. So okay, so if you didn't have that, let me just have a look at this. If we didn't have that, this wouldn't show up. So look, the website menu, if there was someone called the website menu, they don't have a Google My Business listing yet, and so they just appear as actual words. If you've got a listing, you're going to show up more preferably even in Google suggested search. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share, and I am going to come over and answer some of these questions. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you're wanting to. So hang on. Let me get to, okay, Deirdre, I was thinking of it as something to drive people to my homepage, but I should think of it more as a homepage. Yes, so this is like, if we want that 0-click effect, this is an opportunity for people to actually see it. But ultimately, Deirdre, you're absolutely right. The ultimate aim is that we want to be driving people to take action. So what I would want people to be doing is either clicking on the website link that is on there, or if you're using posts, which I'm going to really strongly recommend that you do, is that they're clicking on whatever the call to action is on that post. So for example, for me, if I'm going to put a post up there about the Confident Website Creation Challenge, the call to action is going to be sign up now. And so you are always driving them to something. Kanika says, do we need a business address? Kanika, you need a business address for your website. So yes, the answer to that is yes, you do need a business address, and you can use a business address for your accountant, or you can buy a business address if you want to. So for my limited company, my business address is in London. There's no bearing to where I am. But for Google My Business, you will need to have some kind of address in there. Yes, so Nicola says you need an address. Yes, you need to be sent the verification code, but that doesn't need to be the address of your listing. So Nicola says, my business address doesn't show and the contact part of my website. Not sure if that's right, but that's the info I have displayed. That's absolutely fine. Thanks for jumping in with that there, Nicola. Margaret says, categories are challenging. Those available are not really appropriate when I looked. So what I would do, Margaret, for you is I would go ahead and have a look at some other people who are doing glasswork and see what categories they are using. Yes, Nicola, the recording of this will be available as soon as I get home. Oh, Angela, you don't think they go after 7 days anymore? Well, that's great if they don't. When I was doing all the research for this, everything was saying that they do disappear after 7 days.
January.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I think it changed in January. And
okay.
I found some article on it, so I'll send it to you and we'll see if it's actually true. But I've heard that in a few places that it has changed.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I'm going to be doing posts next week anyway, so I'll let you know what my experience of that is. But yeah, that would be fabulous. So if they don't disappear, then that's great. So then you can have 10 posts up there all the time and then just change out the ones periodically. Kate says, can Google posts be scheduled with a scheduler like Facebook and LinkedIn? Okay, so that's a really interesting question, Kate, because when I set up Google Bee, and because I brought someone new onto my team to be working on Instagram with me, I was going through Social Bee the other day and I noticed that I'm able to integrate Google My Business with it. So I am going to be trying out and seeing if I can schedule them from there, because that would be pretty awesome if we could. So again, I can keep you posted on that. Nicola says, try the Awesome Ukulele Academy. Okay, thanks, Nicola. So that, I think you were meaning for me to try out on Google. I'll try that in a second if we don't have any more questions. So Mo says, I don't, possibly my name, transformational coach. Oh, okay. Sorry, Mo. I didn't see these as I was doing it, but yeah, I can go ahead and have a look in a moment. Kanika says, I am getting all my accounts come up if I type my name and coaching and mentoring. They're probably all your accounts from your social media, Kanika. So like your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook page, anywhere else, like your Twitter account, they will all show up. Preferably your website's going to show up before all of those, but it might not, because Facebook has better domain authority than you have so far. So that's what all, and if you're listed on any directories, you're going to see yourself appear in all of those as well. Margaret says, I tried to set up mine a couple of weeks ago. I haven't had a postcard, but it looks as though people can see my listing. I don't know what you showed, but that may be because I'm the owner. If you haven't verified it yet, it can still show up, but it means that you can't go in and edit the data. You can't go in and edit it yet. It usually takes between about 3 and 5 days. So I'm surprised you haven't had yours yet. And if there's a way for you to follow up with that, then I would. because I'm surprised that you haven't received it. It's normally fairly fast, Margaret.
I don't remember even being asked to, to request a verification link or anything like that. It was almost as if that step got missed out.
Okay. So I would go back in. I'd go back into your listing and go through that. Just have a look again and see. There'll be an option where it says verify your listing, and click on that and go through the steps that they give you. And if you don't see it, then let's have a look at it on Monday. We can have a look. We can log into your account and have a look.
Okay, thank you.
Nicola says, can you create a post that links somewhere else? For example, the place I work has a website and an Etsy shop. So I think you can link those posts to anywhere you're wanting to. So if you're wanting to link it to the Etsy shop instead of your website, I think that you're able to do that. The posts I've done for new job, if I check on another web browser, can see all the... Nicola, do you want to unmute yourself? I'm not sure what you mean by that. The next part of that comment.
Oh, I was just saying that all the posts they've ever done are there. They're not disappeared. But then I think Angela said that they don't disappear anymore anyway. So.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, that's good to verify that. Perfect, thank you. Angela says, yes, okay, you use social channel schedule. Brilliant, okay. So yeah, it looks as though you can schedule stuff to go out there onto Google My Business. That's awesome. What happens if or when you move house? So Gail, you then need to log in and change your details. So you're able to, everything is always changeable. So when you're moving house, that's one of the first things you need to do is pop into Google My Business if your house is what you want to show up on your Google My Business listing. So you need to make sure that you keep it up to date. So if, for example, you're a salon and you move to another location, the first thing you should be doing is making sure that it's up to date on Google My Business. So, okay, perfect. Thank you for the article link, Angela. So hang on, what did I just see? Gina, I Google livery yard. Yes, how cool is that? That's amazing, Gina. What a win. So, and oh, okay, I'm going to caveat that slightly. Okay, so this is something for all of you to take note of. With your Google listings, when you search, Google will bias the whatever it shows you, the results that it shows you, to your previous searches. So if you are, so Gina, for example, if you're searching livery yards a lot, or you're on your website a lot, it's going to skew the data towards what it thinks you want to see. And it does that for all of us. So for example, you will probably see more listings for the UK than you would see for Russia or the US, because they know that we're not particularly interested in all that stuff. So the way you get around that and see the true results is by going to an incognito browser, going to Google on incognito on Chrome, or a private browser if you're using something other than Chrome. And that takes away all the bias of your previous searches. So it might still work, Gina. I hope it does. But just to be clear, just to be sure, go ahead and do it on an incognito browser. Angela says, just check my post and they are up from months ago. It's definitely not disappearing. That's very cool. Thank you for verifying that. Gail says, is there any way you can get rid of the picture of my house, which comes up as one of my photos? So that's probably, Gail, that has probably come up from, I've forgotten what it's called, where Google goes around and takes photographs. Anyway, you all know what I mean. My brain's addled today. So there is an app that you can get on your phone where you can take a photograph and you can replace that one. And I will have to remind myself what the app is called, but you can submit it and it will replace any of the ones that they've got up there. So yes, there's something that you can do. So I will send you the name of that app as soon as I remember what it is. Oh, Gina says, not first if I'm incognito. Okay, well, it's a goal, isn't it? You know how excited you felt when you thought you were first. So it's a goal for you, and that's quite a broad term, livery yards. But if you could have something like livery yard consultant or improve livery yard, those would be goals for you to have. Nicola says, another question. The company I work for are changing their company name and website, I did Google it, and it says I can change the Google My Business page and it won't lose their reviews, posts, etc. But do you know if that will work? I haven't ever tried it, but I can't imagine why it wouldn't, because basically you're just changing the existing data. So you'll be changing the company name. It's just like changing an address. So I would imagine that it does. The only confusion that would happen is if people are talking about the business in the reviews. So let's just say the business is called the Blue Hippo, and so people are saying the Blue Hippo is amazing, they did X, Y, and Z for us, and then all of a sudden you become the Pink Elephant, then there's confusion in the actual reviews. But yeah, I can't imagine. And if you've read about it, if you researched it, then hopefully that will all be okay. Okay, Gina, glad you could make it. All right, any other questions before we wrap up? Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to. And thank you for humoring me in the car. I'm glad it's not hammering down with rain. It's been absolutely torrential rain on my way down. And I did think, if I have to pull over, no one's going to be able to hear anything I say anyway, because there's just going to be rain hammering down on the roof. But the weather has been kind. No other questions? Okay, was that useful? And are you going to take some action on Google My Business? Give me a thumbs up if you are going to go ahead and add some posts onto your Google My Business. Awesome. That's what I like to see. Very cool.
Vicky,
did I hear?
I have a quick question before you go. If that's
Oh yeah,
right.
Kate, go ahead. Of course. Yes.
Thank you. I've just Googled myself, and once upon a time when I did that, then my profile appeared on the right-hand side of the page, but now it's not doing. I haven't Googled myself for ages.
Okay.
So I can't see that there. So am I doing something wrong?
It just sounds like you haven't claimed your listing.
I have years ago.
So you can go ahead and check. So
profile comes up for me. I've got Kate Thorpe Therapy and Coaching in your picture.
Great, that's fantastic. Well, that's reassuring. Thank you, Michaela.
No worries.
But why can't I see it? Because then I can't change my listing.
you can, if you go to Google My Business and you log in, you'll be able to change it from there. So there's two ways you can change it. You can Google yourself, and then on the right hand side you'll see where it says edit this listing, or you can actually just go Google My Business, log in, and go to that area where I showed you. Let me just show you the screen again. So when you are logged in, what you will see is, hang on one second, can I go up? I've just realized there was a section I missed out about Q&As here. This here is when you've logged in, this is what you'll see, and you get this little icon here where you can go ahead and edit it. And I've just realized that where I came to my Q&A slide, I thought that was for me to say any questions, but actually there is a Q&A section on your Google My Business, and you can ask yourself questions. So if you have a Q&A section on your website, just transfer some of those onto your Google My Listing profile, onto Google My Business listing. And then it gives you more bulk on your actual listing when you've got questions on there, and other people can ask questions as well. There is also an app that you can get for Google My Business, so you will get a notification if anybody asks a question. It means that you can respond faster as well, because you'll see it pop through straight away. Okay, there is a checklist. I've got a checklist prepared, and I will post the link to. I'll post the link to it as soon as I post this recording, so you can go ahead and download the checklist, and then you can start working through and seeing what there is that you still need to work on your listing, what you've done, what you haven't done. All right, thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again for humoring my car workshop. Never had to do that before. Hopefully I won't ever have to do it again, but hopefully it hasn't been too painful. And I will see you, those of you who can make it, for Q&A at 2 o'clock on Monday as usual. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks
Take
so
care.
much.
Hope you get
Thank you.
safe.
Safe home.
Bye. Bye.